As the towel says, the last time is now. John Cena is coming to the end of his in-ring career. We kind of knew that already, but at Money in the Bank he gave a clear end date. After 2025, Cena will not be a wrestler anymore. We're less than 18 months away from that deadline, and so every match that Cena has from here on out carries huge importance. Naturally, the entire WWE roster will be looking to get a crack at Big Match John. So let's take a look up and down the roster and try and find Cena some dance partners. Let's start with some names on the babyface side of the roster. There are fun, respect-filled matches to be had with the likes of Jey Uso, as well as up-and-comers like Ilya Dragunov. One more go-around with Seth Rollins would feel appropriate, as would another clash with Sami Zayn, who made his main roster debut against Cena in 2015. Either member of DIY would also be a good call, especially Johnny Gargano. And the Irishman and me want to see one more banger with Sheamus. One TV match that has to happen though is Cena versus R-Truth. He's been making a big deal over the last couple of years of Cena being his childhood hero, even though he's 5 years older than him. That would be a fun little piece of goofiness where they can swap the 5 moves of doom before Cena gets the win and everyone leaves with a smile on their face. As for the heels, Grayson Waller has already had a couple of run-ins with Cena, so that one's a no-brainer. Pete Dunne would offer something quite different, with his brutally technical style being a fun styles clash that would make for a great match. The same goes for Chad Gable, whose stock has risen massively in the last year, enough to put him in contention for a Cena bout. Carmelo Hayes and Bron Breakker are priorities for these kinds of matches. A great example of the past clashing with the future. Cena once stood in Hayes' corner for an NXT match versus Braun, so that's the story for both of them right there. Also, Cena probably shouldn't lose a lot of these matches, but these are two guys who could really carry the business over the next few years, so they should get that big moment. As for the faces, he should probably put over Rollins, Zayn, and Dragunov. If Cena's looking to take a trip down to NXT, Trick Williams is probably the best candidate, as well as the North American champion Obafemi and the young up-and-comer Javon Evans. But there's another man that's an absolute must. Joe Hendry is maybe the most viral wrestler out there right now and has openly called for a match with Cena in various interviews. But if you really want to blow people's minds with this pairing, why not do it in TNA? Joe Hendry is a TNA wrestler and there is a working relationship with NXT. Can you imagine John Cena in a TNA ring? It's not impossible anymore. There's a terrific story to be mined of Cena walking into enemy territory, like One Night Stand 2006 or Money in the Bank 2011. And speaking of, now we get to the Legends matches. And yes, if John Cena versus CM Punk can happen, it should happen. They're intrinsically linked to each other based on what happened that night in Chicago, and it's an open goal to put that match together. There is the possibility of losing the match if Punk keeps getting injured, but I think that's the only thing that could stand in its way. John Cena versus Randy Orton is a match that a certain generation of wrestling fans want absolutely no part of anymore, but the match should definitely go down. They're 5-5 against each other on pay-per-view, so why not break the tie? I personally still harbour dreams of seeing John Cena versus Steve Austin, but I've made a whole video on that, so I'm not going to talk about it here. Check that out once you've finished watching this video, but suffice to say, yes please. John Cena vs AJ Styles should be done on pay-per-view to rekindle one of my personal favourite WWE feuds, the one that made Styles into a true mainstay in the WWE main event. John Cena vs Rey Mysterio is another necessity, what with them being two of the most mainstream famous wrestlers out there. And if you're talking about mainstream, a match with Logan Paul has the potential to be a barn burner as well. And many fans would love to see a build-up where Cena eviscerates Logan on the microphone. These matches are all fun, money-making fan service, so wins and losses don't really matter too much. The only exception is Logan Paul, who should probably get that win. Then you have the modern main eventers. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes would be absolutely fantastic, and in fact, I think that should be the Cena match that's on the first Netflix episode of Raw. In front of a massive audience, potentially the biggest they've ever had, Cena definitively puts Cody over as this era's top face. I don't actually have a lot of interest in Cena mixing it up with any of the bloodline, as they have enough on their plate when they're fighting each other. You could probably sell me on one more Rock Cena match though, because why not make it thrice in a lifetime? Believe it or not, John Cena has never gone one-on-one with Drew McIntyre. So with the Scot riding a wave of momentum right now, I don't see why that can't be done in the next 18 months. And wouldn't John Cena versus Gunther be great? Watching Cena trying to overcome this brick wall of a man would make for fantastic TV. And I personally really want to see Cena do that spot where he rolls through the crossbody and just stands up with Gunther in his arms. Cena versus Judgment Day has a lot of potential too. Cena versus Carlito is a nice throwback to Carlito's debut in 2004. Cena versus Balor would obviously go hard. Cena versus Priest would be cool. And Cena versus Jay-Z McDonough, because once again, Ireland. But the one that takes the cake is John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio. This could be one of those super fun crowd matches with the purest face-heel dynamic you could possibly have. Even better, either man could win and it would work. Cena being the conqueror is certainly on the table, but it would be wonderful heat for Dom to sneak a win out. Maybe thanks to his new squeeze Liv Morgan, but time will tell on that one. Now with a lot of these matches, the storylines between people aren't actually that important. Instead they should come naturally from the situation Cena finds himself in. You can simply say, this is Cena's chance for a 17th title, to stand alone as the greatest champion ever. Or, will Cena win his last Royal Rumble and tie the record with his 3rd victory? Or, can Cena win the one title that has eluded him his whole career, the Intercontinental Championship? Then, you just slot the opponent in and craft the story from there. Having said that, given all that Cena has given to wrestling, he deserves to have nothing but great matches on his last run. And personally, I'm really looking forward to watching it happen. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, consider hitting the like button, sharing the video around, and subscribing to the channel.